My name is Jean Wallace, and I'm the Parks and Trails Director for the City of Hot Springs. And it gives me great joy to welcome everybody today to Regions Plaza. And thank you all for coming out on this beautiful spring day to help celebrate and rededicate a piece of Hot Springs history that was once lost, but now it's found. As you can see by gazing around this beautiful new city plaza, there's much to look at and much history to absorb. In 1897, Herman Lee Ensign, a wealthy advertising executive with a great love for animals, incorporated the National Humane Alliance. He published a series of illustrated stories focusing on educating people to be gentle and considerate of animals and of each other. To memorialize his passing in 1899, the Alliance placed an estimated 125 fountains on city streets across America. Hot Springs was the fortunate recipient of one of these fountains in 1909. The fountain is solid granite and has two sets of drinking bowls, a large bowl on top for horses and smaller bowls at the bottom for dogs and cats. Bronze lions' heads, spouts deliver the water to the bowls. With the advent of the automobile, what's that noise? Got it. Okay. With the advent of the automobile, the horse trough fountain became obsolete for its intended use and was removed from its location, which was very, very near to where we stand today. In 1970, it was acquired by the Reed family, and in 2014, Greg Reed, a descendant of Thomas E. and Ida Lee Reed, contacted former city manager David Watkins about the city's interest in the fountain being regifted to the city. Mr. Watkins was immediately interested and became involved with finding the fountain a new home. So here we are today, and as the saying goes, the rest is history. Our first speaker today is someone I know you are waiting to meet, so please help me welcome our new city manager, David Frazier.
Thank you, Jean. And welcome all Hot Springers and guests from far and wide. It's great to be here with you today, this afternoon, and while I did not know your former city manager, David Watkins, I have learned that he had a passion for downtown redevelopment and development projects, including a special focus on this particular spot upon which we stand today. He predicted that the former Austin Hotel would be transformed into an upscale, modern facility, and as we can see, it has been. He also predicted that the new Regions Bank would become a highlight of pride in the community, and as we can see, it has. So when Jean Wallace approached Mr. Watkins with a proposal to reclaim the fountain and develop a charming new plaza on this site, he is quoted as saying, "Let's do it." So today, how fitting it is to bring that dream to a reality by dedicating this fountain and celebration of the city's history. You know, this morning I was touring Oak Lawn with Mr. Burrows and other people from the track, and they were such gracious hosts, but as I was walking among the facilities at the track, I was taken with the history that Hot Springs has with a horse. And it's a history that probably started way before this fountain was constructed the first time, and certainly it continues today. You know, they used to haul us around, and now they entertain us at the track. But it's a connection that goes way back for many, many years. So I think the fountain has a special significance as a symbol of the relationship between the humble beast that we call the horse and today's and tomorrow's entertainment out at the track. This plaza represents vision, planning, hard work, and tangible benefits that are possible through genuine partnerships and collaboration. And without those partnerships, this fountain wouldn't be back in our hands today to help enrich the downtown environment. So let's celebrate today and build on the momentum to ensure the renaissance of Hot Springs. I want to thank the elected officials that are here today as well. Without their support, these sorts of projects simply wouldn't be possible. I'd like to ask the mayor and board of directors for the city to stand and be recognized. And I'd also like those of you that work for county and state government, if you're here, if you could raise your hands and be recognized as well. I know Judge Davis is here for sure, right back there. And with that, I'll pass the torch to the next speaker. Thank you again, and I can't wait to see what it really looks like.
Thank you, David. And now I'm going to attempt to pass the microphone to our City Director, Elaine Jones, who's standing behind me. She wants to speak from behind. Test. Works.
Good afternoon. The mayor said you can't see me with me standing here. Mayor, I'm 6'1". Oh, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here today to welcome you to this beautiful Regents Plaza. To Mr. Trice, is it Trice? Did I get it right? Okay. And to Mr. Greg, know the first name, and to everyone that's here representing somebody. You're here because you had a part in this. We all took part in it, not just the Parks and Trail Director, who did a wonderful, wonderful job, Jean, and I applaud you for doing such a great job. She really took over and went to work on it. And most of you don't know, but I will let you know that you're standing in District Number 2. I love District Number 2. We have so much to offer. And when you're done, kind of go around and look in the back. No, they don't have a room for slots. Somebody wanted to know if they had a slot room in there when they built it, and they don't. Thank you very much for coming. I just wanted to welcome you to District 2 and to Regents Plaza. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you, Elaine. And now our next speaker is really kind of the person who started it all, or at least passed the torch. Greg Reed. Can y'all hear me? Is that, yeah, okay. Greg Reed. You want to hold it? There we go. There you go.
Thank you, Jean. It's really a privilege to be here today and present this fountain back to the city of Hot Springs. It's been in our family for about 40 years, and when we got it, we had no idea where it came from. We just knew it was a big old, heavy piece of granite. If you knew about my grandfather, he was one of the few people in town that people would call and say, Tommy, we're getting ready to throw this away, or getting ready to tear this building down. Do you want some doors? And he would go over and get these doors. And my cousin Derek, my brother Donnie, and me would haul those doors from one place of his property to the other probably 6 or 7 times before I was ever 12 years old. These doors eventually went up in his house. Well, thank goodness he didn't ask us to move this fountain because it only weighs about 12,000 pounds. But if you know anything about my family, history has always been really important to us. And to see the city reclaim a piece like this that we didn't even know belonged to the city the way it did is really, really quite impressive. If you think about the history of the city and the incredible places that used to be here, thank goodness some still are. It would be great to see the city try to retain as much of that as possible. Just for example, how many of you guys, raise your hand, remember where the old Budweiser warehouse was? Where was it? Right down there by the Silver Record. As a kid, I went through there and was amazed at the ironwork in that building. Does anybody remember where the Como Hotel was? Where was it? Over there. Do you know what Como stood for? Central Washita Market and Art. That's exactly right. Olive. That's right. So it was right over here, but it was torn down. It's actually buried in my family's property up there on Malvern Street, Malvern Avenue. And as being part of the Math and Science School for a while, one thing we talked about was a performing arts center. Well, we used to have one. Do you remember what it was called? The Opry House. So where the parking lot is now, next to Rolano's down there. Think of what would be nice to have, retain that gilded age, iron front Opry House, and have a place for our kids and artisans to perform in a very historic place. So my encouragement to the city is to keep embracing and recognizing sites like this. And while everything can't or probably shouldn't be retained, find a way to retain a piece of it as an echo of its piece in history, so that when our kids grow up, they'll look at it and you can tell them the story, you can read educational plaques like this and retain the history of this great, great city. Again, we're very proud to present this back to the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Greg. And our last speaker, before I come back up and do a little bit of a closing talk, is Lynn Wright. Lynn Wright is the area president for Regions Bank, and he's here to say a few words about their partnership with us in this development of this plaza. Lynn?
Thank you, Gene. We are super excited for this day to finally be here for a whole list of reasons. This project has been years in the making, from struggling with what to do about our facilities needs downtown for the next generation, all the way to coming up with this idea. And I would not be doing my job if I did not give credit from the region side to our recently retired city president, Elizabeth Ferris, who's over here in the audience. Thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth came to us during the process of designing this building and said the city and Gene Wallace have come to us with a really interesting idea. They would like to put a fountain in the plaza, name it Regions Plaza, kind of as an honor to our commitment to downtown. And in any big company, we have to get approvals from our corporate partners. So we pitched the idea to them, and they could not have been more excited to get involved in this project. And so we are so excited about the partnership between the bank, between the city of Hot Springs, all the work that Gene Wallace has done, the Reed family for donating the fountain. Our commitment to Hot Springs goes back over 100 years, and we want it to go for the next 100 years. And the investment in this facility was our statement to downtown Hot Springs that we are here and we are here to stay, and this is an important market for us, and we just could not be more pleased with the partnership that we forged during this process. David Trice has been involved in the latter part of the details. He's our new city president in Hot Springs. Wave to this crowd, David. He had me get up here because he said it wouldn't be fair for me to talk about all the labor and toil I've expended on this project when I just came in when it was finished. So he asked me to do that instead. So from Regions Bank, I just pass on our thanks to the city. I talked to some of my partners in the real estate area today who could not have been more complimentary of how great the city was to work with, how great Gene Wallace was to work with. So it's really been a pleasure for us to be part of this, and we could not be more happy to be in the middle of the redevelopment of downtown Hot Springs. It's a great city. It's going to be a great city for the next generations, and this investment helps make that come true. With that, I will turn it back to Gene Wallace after I give one unabashed pitch for our grand opening is actually this afternoon. So feel free to hang around after these ceremonies. There'll be a ribbon cutting at 3:45, and then food and drinks from 4 to 6. So we'd love everybody to see our facility, celebrate the Regions Plaza with us, and I've been told you cannot drink from the fountain, only horses. So with that, thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to Gene. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. And it's true. Unless you are equine, canine, or feline, you should not drink from that fountain. Okay. Well, we've heard from our speakers today about the incredible and the circuitous route that this remarkable fountain took coming back to its hometown roots. This whole project was a labor of love, and it indeed took a community to make it happen. The stars lined up on this one, folks. Starting with Mr. Watkins' vision to bring it back home after Greg Reed mentioned it to him, then Regions Bank's new building project, and a survey that identified that the property out their front door was public property. The Garland County Historical Society's research that identified the original location of the fountain, the realization that it could return to the location that it once sat 100 years ago, if and only if this public property could be redeveloped into a new city plaza, and if there were funds to do that. Then enter Prince McDougal and Chris Lucas with Regions, and a chance meeting in the city's Planning and Development Department, and discussion began about cost-sharing the plaza construction as qualifying criteria for naming rights. So here we are in Regions Plaza, about to unveil our long-lost National Humane Alliance fountain. So many others caught the excitement and contributed time, labor, and equipment and materials to make it happen. White Daters engineering firm from Little Rock and landscape architect Sally Horsey developed the design. It just struck me today that her last name is Horsey. Sorry, Sally, I wasn't going to say that, but I did. Anyway, they developed the design. Kevin Coakley Construction, helped us with the water line. Ron Gerald, plumber extraordinaire, figured out how to make the complicated yet extremely simple interior plumbing come to life. Bree and David Harris with Light and Time Design Studio for exceptional craftsmanship to recreate the lion's heads and the plaque. Liz Robbins and Mike Blythe for historical research and enthusiasm. Elizabeth Ferris and David Trice with Regions Bank for encouragement. The Parks and Trails Advisory Committee, the Arts Advisory Committee, and the multitude of city departments that pitched in, who all are here, by the way. I've seen representatives from all the departments: utilities, streets, public works, engineering, planning and development, our neighbors, the Advertising and Promotion Commission, Visit Hot Springs across the street, who loaned us our stage when we realized that we were going to be at the same level as our audience, and we really wanted to stand above so you could see and hear us. And everybody pitched in when they were needed. And last but not least, thanks to the employees of the Parks and Trails Department, who didn't groan at the mention of another special project to add into the daunting workload, but just grinned and said, "You want it by when?" So Brian Fisher, Landscape Superintendent, where are you, Brian? Where are your guys and your gal? They're over there. We have a gal and landscape crew. Heavy equipment punctuation. Larry Golden, Park Superintendent and Coordination King, and his crew. Wave, y'all. Administration staff, Kathleen Faison and Jennifer Shin, who both each designed one of the amazing historical signs that are in this plaza. Before we unveil the fountain, there's one more person to recognize in the audience. Kay Watkins. Kay, we are so glad you're here. Hey, Kay. So everyone, thank you for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon and the Regions Bank grand opening immediately following. Be sure and pick up one of the bookmark souvenirs to remember the day. After all, it's just another day in history. Now, if Mayor Carney will make her way to the fountain with Brian Fisher, and if Liz Robbins, Mike Blythe, Ron Gerald, and Sally Horsey, and Cole McCaskill will join them, we will unveil this marvelous sculpture. Do you know what time it is? I can't see my phone. Okay. All right. Okay, so please join me in counting backwards from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unveil. Okay, in a moment the water will start flowing. Actually, it probably should be flowing by now. Is there a magician in the audience? Oh. Woo! Hey, here it goes. Oh, yeah, okay. Brian, are we ready for the other?
Yes.
Okay. So wait a minute. We have the water flowing, and you know, the only thing missing is a horse. Perhaps there is one waiting in the wings. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce Penny Thornton's granddaughter, Aspen Thornton, and her award-winning barrel racing horse, Cowboy. Aspen will now lead Cowboy to water. Let's see if he will drink. Oh, here come our canines. Any felines in the audience? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for coming out. And if you want to just look around, look at some of our beautiful historical signage, get a bookmark, and in a few minutes, Regions Bank will have a ribbon cutting for their grand opening. Thanks again.